In the European context, what is most discussed over the last couple of years is the decline in fertility. Even though since 2000, most European countries show a slight increase in the total fertility rate. But the dynamics of fertility and family behavior have diverged across Europe. We had a greater small regional disparity in fertility patterns in the 1960s, while now we have a convergence among the Nordic countries, among the German-speaking countries, among the Francophone countries, and among the Eastern European countries. So we have larger regional patterns that somehow correspond to welfare state family policies and other kind of social policies development in these countries. In general, the social development is in the direction that women have higher education, they want to stay in the labor market. The whole policy direction of the European Union is to increase labor force participation. Policies that will hamper women's participation in the labor market will be definitely not supporting fertility behavior. That is a long-term, and I think in very many studies also supported policy direction. The other policy direction is more and more that gender equality in the labor market and gender equality in the family is a very important issue. This is more difficult to prove because different kind of countries are at a different kind of status in the gender equality. So there might be gender equality, let's say, in the labor market, but not so much in the family. That used to be in the Eastern European context, for example. But it might also be a little bit more variant. There are different groups in the society where there is gender equality in the labor market, but it might not for others. So there are growing class differences. There are growing differences between immigrant and non-immigrant women. And so we have a kind of an intersectionality, as you say, or a kind of a crossing over between class and gender, and that makes it very difficult to define a specific policy that would support fertility. There is not really one say to say that only high gender equality will give us fertility levels of above 1.5, above 1.7, so it's very difficult to say in which area, or cohort fertility of 1.9. There might be different kind of, the societal status with regard to gender equality might be very, very important in that connection. But for all European countries, I think we can say the direction of development is towards gender equality. It's towards women participating more in the labor market, and that will eventually put pressure on men to take over part of the household work and other kind of work. I think that the more important it becomes for both, for men and women, to be in the labor market, also because aging societies will request that we work longer. And the OECD has just proposed that in most countries the retirement age has to be risen. Most countries will go in the direction to require that you work more and that you have longer work histories. That will mean that both men and women will have to work. Therefore, the focus actually should go on how do we structure the labor markets. It will be the labor markets. So it will be what employers, what firms, how we politically structure the labor market, what kind of policies do we do, and it's labor market policies that we do that will be determined. And the family policies, in the sense of sharing of household work and sharing of care, that of course is important, but this is also much more difficult to actually negotiate. It will be very difficult to negotiate the labor market policies as well, because the development over the last 15, 20 years has been to liberalize the markets in a lot of ways. But the focus, from my perspective, has to be on the labor market. If we want to have families to have children, and if we want to assure that all people can have children if they want to have children in the first place, then I think we have to also do all the labor market policies and all the negotiations with employers from the perspective of those who care. So the care dimension cannot be excluded anymore. And there are a lot of initiatives going on in that direction. So we have to do a rethinking. Care is a very important issue, and bringing care into the kind of labor market focus that it has started, and the discussion has been going on for a long time, but I think we still need to push much more for that. So a more integrated view of that would be a very important point. I think more and more we know that having childcare for the under 3 seems to be an essential point, even though it's very difficult to study that and to actually provide proofs. But we have enough indications and we have enough proofs that that would be an essential policy to go for. That has to be high quality childcare. It has to be open to everyone. It has to be an affordable policy for everyone. Otherwise, parents will not really take that up. And otherwise, we also preserve the gender inequality, but also the social inequality. But we do know that having a good care for a child is and will become more and more important.